How's everybody doing this morning? And in some parts of the world, I saw on our Twitter feed that we've got some fabulous moms, man, joining in from the UK. Got to tell you how much I really appreciate people being here today. See, the whole thing is to make sure that every Saturday at this time, and I understand that in the UK, you guys are going to have a time zone change. So you know what that means? That means I got to freaking do math. Now, I know that today, on this hour, I got to make sure that I watch the language that comes out of my mouth because there might be some little kiddos there. And so I have my wonderful daughter sitting across from me who's going to help make sure, right, that mom's language stays rated G, not PG-13. But anyway, so we're taking a couple minutes here when we go on our live stream each time to make sure that our bots are working right. Because what I come to experience is that within the first few minutes of going live, it like amplifies a bunch of, what do you call them, trolls? People who like to troll on live streams and just make a muck of things. So I'm taking a few minutes just to do some filler. And have you guys experienced any interesting things with your hair while being in isolation? I saw something recently on Twitter that we were all, not we, but people, there was a conversation about what our hair is going to look like. There are people who are actually moving toward a pixie cut. And I'd like to believe that that would be a positive outcome of this isolation period, is that there would be like a liberation of the hair. Because I got to tell you something. I went to a barber a couple weeks ago and had my hair cut, and I got it colored. I did that by myself, and you can see that it is turning a light shade of something or other. So in the next, I don't know how many weeks, it will be interesting to see not only what my hair looks like and what your hair looks like, but what the color is going to be. So now before we start, does everybody have what they need to start? I mentioned on Twitter that you'll need something to write with. It could be a highlighter, a bunch of different highlighters. It could be a permanent marker. It could be some paint pens. These are paint markers. Then I also have some other paint markers that are thicker. Now, when I first introduced this, someone had said, what if I don't have any markers? What if I don't have any? You can use crayons. You can use anything. Anything that you want to write, draw, color. And the thing that I'm going to be using in this exercise, and it's a mindfulness exercise that I did with a client that turned out pretty amazing. Well, I almost said a word there. I caught myself keeping it rated G. It was like one of the best exercises that we did. And it was something so simple. And here's something else to think about, folks. What we're going to do today, you can easily share with other people. And the thing that we're going to make, the exercise was set up to do it in two phases. One was to do it for ourselves, and then we did it as a gift giving. That was so powerful. There were people who had the same experience and were sharing it together. There were people who had a different experience and they shared each other's perspective of it. And it was one of the best things that we did. I spent an entire weekend with this organization. And again, this was a powerful exercise. So I mentioned about the medium I'm going to be using. And I got to lean over here because I got to pick a rock. So these are Mexican pebbles. And I'm going to use this one today. It reminds me of the shape of a potato. But I like it because it's got a good weight to it. I can use it as a paperweight. And I like how it feels in my hand. So before we actually get into doing the exercise, let's do a real quick check-in. And one of the things that I'm looking at is how many people are here? Got 3 people here. Hey, welcome you guys. Make sure you get your stuff. So let's take a minute. So if people could type in and let me know, do you have your stuff? So your supplies that you need. Again, it can be a piece of paper, tongue depressor. It could be a backside of a bookmark. It could be that you went and got yourself a rock, right? And then you have your things that you're going to paint with. If you don't have anything to paint with, you can use markers, you can use highlighters, crayons, even nail polish. All right, so this exercise is in a few different parts. The first part we're going to do is we need to get ourselves at a place where we're just focusing on what we're doing right now. So if you want to have music playing in the background, that's awesome. One thing that I would suggest doing is turning off the television or a news station, for example, because while if we're playing music in the background, we're listening to something that is pleasant as opposed to I'm focused on something and then I'm hearing, right? Our other senses are hearing something that could possibly redirect our attention to something that is going to be counterproductive to what we're doing right now. Okay? So get yourself something to drink, turn on some awesome music, and that could be anything that you want. It can even be silence. So like here in the house, the only thing I hear is my son who's finally taken a shower and getting up for the day. And what time is it? It's 12:05. Typical teenager, right? But the environment is pleasant. All right? And we're here together on this Saturday, and we're spending some time together, and we're going to do an exercise. Now, I know that one of the things I posted about this exercise is that words are powerful. They really are. What we're told, what we say to ourselves, words are everywhere. It's what we use to communicate. And we communicate a lot of different things, even like right now. I'm mindful of the words that I'm using because there might be kids around. I'm also mindful about the words that I'm using right now because my goal is I want you to learn something. I want you to learn something, and I want to do something that's helpful for everybody right now facing, being isolated. It's kind of weird. You look outside and you're like, wow, looks like it's a great day. Too bad I can't go out and enjoy it. So to help us, right? Because I know last week we talked about community. We look at some of the notes here. Yeah, note-taking is undervalued task these days. Absolutely. Trying to find a piece of paper. All right, don't worry. We're not gonna start, ASAP, meaning I got a thing we need to talk about first. A wooden dolly stick and crayons. Absolutely. Absolutely. So words are powerful. So here's the sitch. Isn't it interesting how somebody can say something to you and you remember it? Like myself with PTSD, I can tell you something, man. There's some stuff that I remember that I'm like, why do I remember those words? I don't want to remember those words. Now, here's a phrase, though, that this was back in, 1994. This person said this. I was an undergraduate student at Eastern Michigan University. I was there when it was a Huron versus the whatever the hell they are now, emu or something like that. I don't know. And Dr. Gary Evans said in one of my classes, words are words and people put meaning to words. Think about that phrase. Words are words and people put meaning to words. Just like if I was to say right now, good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, everyone. Regardless of my tone or inflection, those words mean something to you. Good morning. Good afternoon. Is it? So what else do words do? What else do words do? They convey a message, but what else do they do? They tell a story, right? They tell a story. And words are, for me, a mindful reminder about what my goals are, what my aspirations are, what my dreams are, what my struggles are. I mean, words matter most because, like I said, they have meaning to us as a society, and they have meaning to you as an individual. They have meaning in our family. So like if I was to say to my daughter, hey, Reens, only she knows what that means. Oh, she's looking at me right now, giving me the look of, I can't believe you just said that. I love you though, baby. Okay, now, okay, I gotta pass. Ah, she gave me the heart. But words have meaning, and words mean things to different people, right? What I just said to her, that doesn't mean anything to you guys. You're probably trying to figure out what the heck does that mean? But she knows what that word means. Just as much as if my dad was to say a certain word to me, only I would know what that word meant. So words are powerful. They're powerful, and they have meaning to you, to me, to us as a society. So before we get into the exercise, what I want you guys to do is, Herbert Benson's work is about activating the stress relaxation response, okay? And it's done through using our breath. It's done through breathing. We do it every day. The only way we actually know that we're not breathing and then we appreciate our breathing is when freaking we don't have something that catches our breath and goes, right? Then we become aware of, oh my gosh, I can't breathe. Or if you're swimming, right? You need to learn how to do a different kind of breathing. So what I want everybody to do right now is, if you're sitting at your table or wherever you're sitting, like I'm sitting, I got my legs crossed. I'm going to uncross my legs because I don't want to create any tension in my body. And I just want us to, you're looking at me, and I hope that you know I'm looking at you. So let's take just one natural breath in through our nose and let it out through our mouth. Okay? You guys can look at my eyes doing this, all right? You need to look at something. If you close your eyes, it's okay. But take another deep breath in through your nose and let it out through your mouth. And you'll notice that my exhale is longer than my inhale. To me, that tells me I need to do some more mindfulness practice. And I want you to take one more deep breath in through your nose. Feel your shoulders rise. That was a really big inhale. And then let it out through your mouth. That was better. And what I'm looking at for myself, guys, is my inhale breath, does it match my exhale breath? So when they match, that tells me that I'm more closer to activating that stress relaxation response that Herbert Benson talks about. Did anybody just see the feather that just flew by? I had a squirrel moment there. There's like a little feather that just flew by. Isn't that kind of weird when that happens? When stuff like that happens, I always wonder, like, okay, is there like, somebody here that I can't see? It's pretty cool when you have those moments, right? Throughout this exercise, you don't need to be mindful of your breathing, but what I want you to be mindful about is where your thoughts are at and how your physical body reacts and responds. Okay? So we're going to start the exercise. And the exercise is 3 parts. There's 3 parts to the main exercise, and there's a couple other things we need to do afterward. So is everybody ready to start? Can you chat? Put in the chat box here. Is everyone ready to start? And where are people from? Where are you guys messaging from? Where are you guys chiming in from? I know there's some people from the UK, group of moms that were like, hey, we're going to do this. Anybody got kids here today? Cool. Ready. Awesome. All right. So we're going to start. So the way that this exercise starts is it begins with a question. Begins with a question. And the question is, if one word could change your life, what would that word be? What would that word be? Now, when I did this exercise, people were like deer in the headlights. I really don't know. How many people are feeling that way right now? I have no idea. Don't know. No clue. So let me give you some prompting questions. I got to put on my readers because, yes, I'm that old. Look at this. I'm that old. If there was one word that could change your life, what would that word be? And in order to generate those words, we might need help on some questions to help prompt those words. Questions like, what brings you joy? What brings you joy? Or, what would you do if you weren't afraid to do it? Or, what do you dream of achieving one day? Now, these words are actually rooted in specific phrases that are even more deeper rooted into action. So everything I do is evidence-based, okay? It's not like I'm just throwing stuff out there at the hip. Other questions are, how do you show love to yourself? Or what is a defining moment in your life and how did it impact you? So when we think about what one word could change our mind, my word is calm. My kid just said, woohoo! Oh, that's so cool. How old is our little person next to us? That's awesome. Calm. So from these words, well, other people have shared, for example, I'll share some words that other people have. Ah, that's so nice. Oh, hi, sweetie. Almost 3. Oh, so cute. Some words that clients have shared with me, okay, because other things that come up right now are people like, okay, I've got the question and I've thought of some words. And maybe other people are saying, okay, I got some words, but I don't know if it's the right direction I want to go into. What I find doing this exercise, especially the first time, is that we need help and we need some prompters. And that's okay, because that's why we're doing this together. Some words that clients have shared is fly and soar. For the answer to what would you do if you weren't afraid? I'd fly, I'd soar, I'd be free. I'd believe in myself. I'd trust myself. The question about what are you working toward that you could use help with? Some people said believe. Other people said letting go. Some people said hope. What the question is, what is a defining moment in your life and how did it impact you? The 2 most common words that came up with this organization, and I've done this exercise several times, and so I've been collecting the words that are the most common response, is change and freedom. Change and freedom. The other question is, how do you show love to yourself? The biggest response, what do you guys think the biggest response was on that one? It's time. Time. And then what do you dream of achieving one day? Success and peace. And then here's another question that was asked. How are you making a difference in the world? You know, that's a really good question right now. How are you making a difference in the world? There's some things that I've seen that have been so cool right now. Executives that are stepping up and doing amazing things. I thought about keeping a list of like an Excel spreadsheet of all the organizations that are doing proactive things for their employees as well as their community. It's all based on the CEOs and the leaders within those organizations, because those are the companies I want to support when this is all over, but that's just me. But making a difference in the world, helping, and the other one was sharing, and the last one is love. So now, Happiness. Awesome. So you guys have some words based on the questions that we asked. That's the first step, is to ask yourself those questions and pick one question. And then the second step is we're identifying some words. We're identifying some words. So now what we need to do with that question and those words, those words that we created, we asked ourselves that question and those words from our mindset of ourselves with our year of age that we are right now, how old we are right now. So I'm answering those questions myself as a soon-to-be 52-year-old woman. What if we ask those questions as a 3-year-old kid? Since we got a 3-year-old, let's ask the 3-year-old. What would our 3-year-old self say about, Deb, what would you do if you were not afraid? Now, I want to use my 3-year-old self that I would like to be versus the 3-year-old self that I was. My 3-year-old self would say, go for it. My 3-year-old self would be the one just, you ever look at those 3-year-olds, man, they're just running down the road and you can't figure out how fast those little legs go. Because my legs are bigger than hers, and I can tell you, she's fast. She'd be like out the door doing it. Just doing it. Just do it. Just do it. I'm going to write that down so I remember. Just do it. That's what Debbie would say. Yes. I call my little self Debbie because that's what she was known as. What would your 3-year-old self tell you in response to the question that you chose? Now, the third part of this step, I bet you guys already know what it is. Does anybody know what it is? Want to take a guess? How much of a lag is there, baby? Is there a lag? There is no lag. Well, I'll be darned. What would your 80-year-old self say? What would your 80-year-old self say too? And this is my question. What would you do if you were not afraid? My 80-year-old self and my 3-year-old self got the same answer. Actually, my 80-year-old self would be a little bit more harsh. And she would be like, what the beep, 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 beep are you doing? Get the beep, 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 beep out there. That's what my 80-year-old self would say. I hope to God I'm like that when I'm 80. I hope I'm like the yaya with the stick. That's like, get the beep, 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 beep out there. Do it. Just do it. No excuses, no nothing after that. She'd be like, just do it. Do it. All right. So we have our question. We've got our word, several word. Spin around and twirl till you're dizzy. I love it. Oh my God, that's awesome. Love doing that. Who else liked doing that when they were a kid? Just twirling and spinning around and then falling on the ground and being like, life is so good. The mindset of the babes, right? So we have our word. And what you need to do now, the last step is, if you have more than one word, pick one word. So I have a phrase, which is just do it. Right? That's the phrase, just do it. And if I dig deeper down and do like an analysis of the phrase, just do it, it really comes down to two other singular words, which is trust and believe. Trust and believe. So if you have two words, like I've got two words right now, I need to pick one of those words. Trust and believe. And nobody else can tell you which one to do. Isn't that cool? Do you see how this is looping around? I looked at my daughter, and nobody else can tell you which one to pick. You've got to pick it yourself. So I'm going to pick the word trust versus believe. I'm going to pick the word trust. Yeah, I know. I know Nike is just, just do it. I wonder, did they trademark that name? no, that phrase. I'm sure that the phrase "just do it" came out before even Nike was even a company. We have, you know, sports that go back in coaches. But anyway, what do we got? That's a good question to ask, isn't there? So my word that I've chosen is the word trust. Trust. Trust yourself. Trust in the process. Trust in what you're doing. Trust everything. Just trust. Yeah, trust and imagine. Are those your two words, Lisa? Trust and imagine, honey? How are you doing today, by the way? Let's do a check-in while we're at it. So what do people think right now about this? Does it make sense what we've been doing so far? See, I'll wait for your comments on the chat and respond. So what we're doing is we are taking a process of looking at a question of a word that's going to mean something to us and only us. And we're going to create a physical object. And I don't know if anybody saw one of the videos that I did about the difference between writing something out versus typing it, the psychology behind it, and what parts of the brain that we're activating. The best way to actually help ourselves reduce our stress and increase happiness within ourselves is by using both sides of the brain. So right now, we're actually using both sides of the brain. The analytical left side, it's making us think. And then our creative right side. We're using both hemispheres of our brain. Perfect. Thank you so much. Trust, imagine. I could claim those as my essentials. Okay, ideally what we do, guys, is we pick one word. Now you can make two objects if you want, but choose one word for this exercise, okay? So mine's going to be trust. And what I want you guys to do is to look at your color, markers, pens, crayons, nail polish, whatever you've got, and pick out some colors that when you look at them, you go, you know what? I really like that color. I really don't today want to use this color, which is weird because I like green, but today I don't want to use green. No, the colors in my box that are speaking out to me, which is so funny. Nope, not that one, which is weird. Are these colors. These colors are the ones that are calling out to me today. And there's a whole psychology of color, and maybe I'll do an episode on the psychology of color. But for right now, to make it simple, just pick out the colors when you think about your word, and right now it makes you feel like happy. You're like, yeah, I really like those colors. It doesn't have to be anything deep, nothing complicated. Again, from your 3-year-old self, what color would they pick out? Your 80-year-old self, what color would they pick out? And from a soon-to-be 52-year-old woman, the colors today are these. Let me look at some of your comments, guys. I really appreciate you being here today. I told you I have words. I'm going to say the word that gets me through it is all is faith. Awesome. Nice job. Faith. Let's see what some of those other comments. Okay, yeah, we got someone else who's like, yep, most definitely. Good today. Awesome. Makes sense. Fabulous. You know, and another reason why I ask those questions is because, like I mentioned earlier, words are powerful. And words are words, and people put meaning to words. I want to make sure that the words that I'm using make sense to you. Because what's going to happen is that I'm about to open up my box of 48 Prismacolor pencils. Prismacolor. Now somebody else is going, you got a thumbs up. Got a thumbs up from my moderator daughter here. Awesome. Who's a major artist, by the way. Yeah. So again, words are words, people put meaning to words. I want to make sure that the words that I'm using make sense. So go ahead and take your object and pick one of these colors. I'm going to pick this one. And I have a napkin here that I'm going to use to go ahead and just dab it real quick and get this paint going. My hands are super clammy today. And I'm going to write the word trust on here. Now, the other thing that I want you guys to understand about doing this exercise, this doesn't have to be done perfectly. And what I mean by that is, let's just say that your handwriting is, doesn't look like calligraphy. That's okay. It's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's no need to be perfect here. What we're doing is we're taking time and writing out our word on our object. So go ahead and do that. And enjoy it. Know that what we're doing right now is something for ourselves. I can get more into the science about it if you want. And I know that there are other people who do things like that, and that's cool. But what I find is that sometimes all I need to know is what's helpful for me. And if you guys really want to know, you can DM me and I'll share that with you too. What's helpful is to do the exercise and to enjoy it. And know that with this object you're creating, you're going to give yourself a daily reminder of what matters most in relation to that question that you asked yourself. Okay, I'm working on the last letter here. These markers are kind of blobby. That's okay. I can go fill in some of the other ones. Learning how to use the paint marker. But I like the color. And I think that my 3-year-old self would be happy, as well as my 80-year-old self might laugh and say, "That's typical of you, Debbie." What would your 3-year-old self say while you're doing this? And what would your 80-year-old self say? So I'm almost finished here. I'm going to show you guys this. So here's my word. I loved pink when I was a kid. I still like pink. Now with the other remaining colors, go ahead and put any other designs on there that you want. You can leave it if you want to be the one word, or you can put designs on there. Make this object whatever you want it to look like, whatever you want it to be designed, however you want it to be designed. However you choose, because it's your object and it's what's going to make you happy. Thank you. I wish that there was a way that you guys could show me yours. So, I know that we're connected on Twitter. If there's a way that you guys wouldn't mind, like I'll take a picture of mine and post it. It'd be nice to see what you created. Be nice to see what you created. And just decorate this any way you want. When I was a little kid, I used to make these four thing flowers. Just made another one here. Another thing when I did this exercise, I do this in organizations, you'd be surprised how many people came back and said, "I haven't played in the last time I can't remember." And not with your kids, but just you yourself play. And one of the things that I have found is that we get so inundated with doing tasks that we forget to play. I remember one time, guys, I was working with this vice president, finance, and this person had some anger management challenges, we'll just say that, okay? And I was called in to come into the company to help this person with anger. Gotta wipe my nose, pardon me. And I asked him, when was the last time you played? Oh my gosh. You would have thought I asked like a really deep personal question. Playing isn't for adults. Playing is for children only. Some children at certain ages, they shouldn't play, blah, 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 blah. They got to contribute to the family. So I asked him, if you could play, what was the thing you enjoyed most doing as a kid? I come to find out he really never got the chance to play as a child. He was expected to be an adult as a little kid. So I said, all right, well, if you could play anything, what is it that you would want to play? Hot Wheels. That was his thing. I want to play Hot Wheels. I was like, all right. So our next session, I brought in some cars. And I said, we're not doing anything today other than playing. I'll tell you what, the first few minutes was really uncomfortable. Just sat there like, what do you mean? It was very abrasive, actually. Didn't want to do it. And I was like, no, we're not really talking about anything too much at all. We're just going to play. So I started, messing with the car, talking about the car. And, because each Hot Wheels, like, it's properly named, right? So if you've got like a Ford Shelby, 69, whatever, the year and everything, it lists it on there, And then he started playing. And then after a while, I wasn't talking at all. It was just him, just watching him play. It's really cool when you can see a man over 50 getting back into it and playing. That's pretty cool. And yes, he went home. First thing he did was went on to eBay and bought all these nostalgic toys that he wished he had. So this exercise right now of coloring, if you're, what are you experiencing doing this? Remember I mentioned earlier, I want you to be mindful about what your thoughts are. My hands are really clammy today. I can't even open up this damn thing. Sorry. Oh, I said the D word. My apologies to the 3-year-old out there, honey. Really. Temperatures have changed here in Minnesota, so I don't like this one as much. My hands are super clammy. I did not eat a lot of salt yesterday, but what are people's emotions? What are your thoughts? Oh, this is dripping. And how is your body feeling? Because we feel tension in our bodies. That's where our stress lies. It's in our bodies. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad, Lisa. That's wonderful. I need to do one more. No worries. Oh, thanks. Thank you. I know. I was like, I want to do one more. I think I'm going to do a hot pink one. Yeah, I'm going to do hot pink. I love hot pink. I think maybe what I'll do is make a smiley face. And then I'm going to be finished with mine. And I always got to do like these little curly cues. Here we go. So when you guys are finished with your object, would you please let me know? Because we need to do something else with our object to conclude our exercise. Well, I just made a smudge mark, so I'm going to try seeing if I can fix this. See if I can fix this with my purple. If not, then that's okay, right? Because we go with what we've got, and what we've got is okay. That looks wonderful. I like that. For some reason, I think I want to put make this into like a little animal. That looks good. Okay. So let me know when you guys are done. Let's see, I got something popping up here. Can I add what? I can. So your body was having a pain issue, kind of a delicate area. It's now much better. Like forgetting in the activity for a bit helped. I don't know how to de-stress my reaction to having pain. Did you know? Actually, maybe you don't know. I don't know. I'm going to share with you. So remember earlier when we did just the breathing in and the breathing out, and I mentioned Herbert Benson? Herbert Benson's work using breathing, using the breath, and breath, I want to call it breath management, but being mindful about that you're breathing, and then there's a whole practice of his stuff. He used the purpose for Benson's work is pain management. Another thing that's really super cool is there's research from women, I'm sure I get this one. When we're in labor, we're often taught how to breathe, the Lamaze technique. And that, again, is rooted in pain management, breathing, and specifically for pain management. If you guys are interested, I can do an entire stream just on, basic instruction of using Benson's work and breathing. I do that kind of training right now. If you guys are interested in that, I'm more than happy to do a stream on it. I've got another upcoming stream about adrenal suppression and adrenal support. That was a request that somebody asked. So like adrenal fatigue and adrenal support. We can certainly do a stream on Benson's work. Absolutely. So are you guys finished with your rock? How are we coming along with our rock? I want to look at my notes here, make sure I'm on track here, because I made some notes to myself to make sure that I share all the educational components, right? Let's see. Yep. All right. So here's my rock. I got a little doodad over here. Shit. Sorry. Oh, I said another word. It was originally supposed to be a star, and then I put a little smiley face in it. Then there's the word. Then I got another little smiley face person, a flower, a couple flowers. I missed the start. Okay. That's okay. It's all right. So the start was we did a breath in and breath out, and another breath in and breath out, and then a third breath in and breath out. And we're going to repeat that in just a second as soon as folks let me know where they're at with their rock, so, or whatever object you use. What object do you guys have? So obviously I've got a rock. And this is something for ourselves. So the other second part of doing this exercise was you think about another person in your life. And you ask yourself the same questions that we did, right? So, what is their defining moment? If you could, if they were not afraid to do what you think that they could do, what would be the one word that would be helpful for them? You think about all these different words, and you pick a word for them, and then you make a rock for them, and you decorate it in colors for them. And then you give it as a gift, and you tell them, hey, you know what? I did this mindfulness exercise where we were asked the question, what would you do if you were not afraid? And I thought of you. And I came up with this word, and this was the word that I came up with. And then I decorated it. And then you give them the object. Another way that you can use this activity is they can be holiday gifts. They can also be smaller rocks, and place them along trails where people walk. And people can pick them up. We have that at our park. So how are people doing right now? Let's see where we're at. It's been a 2 minute time since the last comment on there. And where are people at with their objects? I need to know when you're finished, because I can't move on to the next part until I know you're done. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sky Captain. Like I mentioned earlier that I do this exercise when I work in companies. And I was at a weekend with an organization, and I always bring this. I should show it to you. Do you see this? I got a huge basket of these pebbles, these Mexican pebbles, and they come in different sizes. They come in different sizes. Okay, cool. Use printer paper. They come in different sizes. There's like this size, and I know you guys saw, this size. There's even smaller ones too. There's smaller ones too. The cool thing about the small ones is you can keep these in your purse or your pocket. This would fit like in the little coin pocket area of your pocket. There's even smaller ones. I bought a mixed bag. And when there was the gift exchange, the gift giving exchange, there were two ladies that came up with the same word for each other. And the other part of doing this exercise was, when it's in an organization, pick somebody that you don't know. So you're picking somebody who's not in your business unit. You're picking somebody who's not in your team. You only know that person, or they only knew that person, because we spent the weekend together. And if it's in a bigger room, at a workshop with people from a conference, most people don't know each other, but you're sitting next to somebody who maybe you just decided to be, you just sit next to them. And we do the first exercise together, right? Which is, it's for myself. And then we have a little, break like we're doing right now. We're talking about it. So you're having a conversation with the person who you just met, and then you make some, based on what you've heard, right? Because words mean things. And we're using active listening. We're hearing what the other person's saying, and we create one for them. A lolly stick. You know what? I love that word lolly. We call it popsicle. A lolly stick. Such a great idea with pebbles. Yeah, it is. Here in the United States, it's really, at least I live in Minnesota, and it's really common when you're walking your dog and you're on a trail, and you can tell too that kids love doing this. And they love leaving them and placing them. They're usually by trees, and of course they're colorful. What I like about my word visual illustration, it's more flowery, sweet. Right. Lisa makes a really good point here about serious art. Sometimes people get so hooked in the seriousness of the task. It's not about the task. It's about the enjoyment. Like right now, remember earlier I said, be mindful about what your emotions are, what your thoughts are, and how your body's feeling. I got to let you guys know, I've had this upper back issue for days. And it's because I keep leaning forward with the monitor, right? Doing this exercise, I absolutely have no discomfort in my upper back whatsoever. None. There's not any tight spot whatsoever. We've been together for 50 minutes, I think? Almost 50 minutes. And something so simple brings so many benefits. So many benefits. Yep, help relieve stress. And I mentioned about the body because our bodies keep and harbor a lot of stress. So you think about, muscle tension, hypertension, blood pressure, our circulatory system, our nervous system. And then with our emotional state, it's like so much is going on right now in the world. What can we do for an hour that helps us right now? And then also the thing for me, whenever I make a technique, I create techniques based off of evidence, based off the science. I love that part. It's my innovation, my creative side. So I take the logic and the theory, and I do something with it. Is that when we're done with each other today, you still have this. So it's sustainable, right? It's kind of like that everlasting gobstopper. This rock's not going anywhere. It's here. I can give it to one of my kids later if I want. You can put the date on the back of it or a date on the side so I know what year it was when I made this. I can tell you that I'm never going to forget that it was the, COVID-19. And the other thing that I'll always remember is you, is us. Because when I started this stream, that's the reason why I started it, was so that people know that we are together. No matter where you're at in the world, no matter where you're at, no matter who you are, no matter, no matter anything. It's more than a community, because the one thing that I can definitely share is that over time, consistently coming together, we move from community to friends, because everybody starts off as a stranger. Everybody does. Everybody. So we're all in this together. We are stronger together. Nobody's alone. Nobody's isolated by themselves. All right, what do you guys got? Gobstoppers. I know. I could really go for some candy right now. I will say that I have a gift for somebody for Easter. I so want to eat it, but I can't because the guilt will just kill me. All right, I fold my piece of paper with the word so that it's a little table. Oh, so faith is on the table. Oh, that's so cool. All right, guys. So we're all pretty much finished, right? Let's see. There's one more person I'm looking for here to see if they're done. So IDN, Mama, or is it an I or is it an L? Are you all set over there? I like the thumbs up, by the way. Is that a new emoji? The USA flag thumbs up. All right. What's that? It's an emote. I don't know these things. What do I know? Looks like it's a thumb up. What's the difference? Oh, an emote versus an emoji. An emoji is like a facial expression. Oh, for heaven's sake. Okay. All right, let's see what we got. Okay, perfect. All right. So now what we're going to do, guys, is I want you to take your object, okay? And I want you to hold it in your hands if you can, okay? See, I got that thing. I want you to hold it. I want you to look at it, okay? What's the 3-year-old doing? I think isn't the 3-year-old participating today, doing the same thing with the lolly stick? I love that lolly. So you're going to look at you're going to look at your word, okay? You're going to hold your object. You're going to look at your word, and we're going to do the 3 series of breathing again, okay? So you're going to look at your word. You're going to take a deep breath in. And you're going to let it out. Now the second time, I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to envision your word, okay? Can everybody see it with your eyes closed? And I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose and let it out through your mouth. And I want you to open up your eyes and look at your word. And I want you to take another breath in through your nose. And I want you to let it out through your mouth. That's okay. To be a kid again. So here's the sitch, guys. Whenever you find yourself stressed, whenever you find yourself being challenged, having a challenging moment, a challenging day, I want you to look at your word. You don't have to hold it. Look at it. And I want just repeat that 3-step breathing. So I see my word, I look at it, I breathe in and I breathe out. Remember, breathing in through your nose, exhale through the mouth, close your eyes, I see my word, I breathe in, I breathe out, I open up my eyes, I breathe in and I breathe out. I want you to repeat that exercise and notice how it shifts your mindset. Notice how it helps you relax. Now, some people might be saying, well, what if my word's not anywhere near me? That's okay. See, what I did was I snuck in a second piece, which is working with our subconscious mind. That's why I had you close your eyes. Even if the word's not around you, you already know what the word is. It's in your conscious mind, and it's already in your subconscious mind. It's already in your memory. All you have to do is just recall the word. You can even do more than recalling the word. You can remember what your object looks like. So let's just say I move the rock away. It's on the other side of the table. I'm not looking at it, but guess what? I can remember what it looks like. I can remember the colors. I can remember putting it together. I can remember picking out the colors. I can remember what it felt like to draw the flowers and the smiley face and the word. I even know what color the word is. And I can close my eyes and I can breathe in and I can breathe out. And I can bring myself to calm. I can relax. I can smile. I can be happy. And whenever you're stressed out or you're facing a challenge, remember your word, because remember what we said? Words are words, and people put meaning to words. And words mean a story. This word is a story, and it's linked to my question. The question to myself, just like yours is. So I'm going to go on to Twitter. I'm going to post my word. You guys can always come back to this video because we're streaming and it's recording. But while we've got 4 minutes left, we got a few minutes left. What are some questions that you guys have? And what did you think about doing this exercise today? It could be anything. What are your overall thoughts about doing it? Did you like it? Did you find it valuable? Was it helpful? Awesome. Would you like me to do another series on, if I did the streaming exercise on Benson's, breathing, it would probably only be like 15 minutes to 30 minutes. It's not a long exercise that needs to be done. Fabulous. You know what, Lisa, you can actually go ahead and post it on Twitter and then just tag me in on it, or you can use the @ sign in your post. I'm going to do an @ sign on my post, and if it's all right, I'll include you guys in on it and say that we all got together today and this is what we did. But yeah, I definitely use the breathing. My kids know that exercise too. It's really simple for kids to learn, very helpful for adults. What other questions? Anything else that you guys would like to know? How are you going to use your rock? Where are you going to place it? I used a rock. I'm just saying rock because that's the object. For the lolly stick, where's the lolly stick going? For the piece of paper, where's the piece of paper going? Sky Captain, what did you use? See, go back here in the thread and see. What did you say you were using? Looking back through here. Xbox controller. No way. Did you really? That's so cool. Would you be willing to post a picture of it so we could see it? Right. And that's the cool thing about using like the lolly stick or a piece of paper or even the rock. You can take it wherever. The controller you can take right now too. How big are those? Oh, it's like that. Okay. All right, cool. All right. Yes, ma'am. You're so formal. Thank you. Awesome. The bedroom cabinet. Oh, you know what? LDN Mama, that's another good point. Thanks for bringing that up. I had that written on my piece of paper. So if you really want to up the ante on how to use this, right, that we did today, remember your word right before you're going to bed. So that doesn't mean like I'm sitting at the kitchen table and I still got to go upstairs and like, get myself ready to bed. I mean, you're laying in bed and you're ready to lights out, right? I've got my eye drops in, lights are out and everything, and I got nothing else to do but one last thing. Think about your word. And while you're laying in bed, close your eyes and do the 3 breaths right before you go to bed. All right, you guys. Thanks so much for being here today. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for making a difference. Thanks for being awesome. And we'll see each other next Saturday. I do have the schedule that we're finalizing to post. So we're going to be doing more live streams. We've got Monday coming up. So the only day that I'm not going to be streaming, you guys, is on Sunday. I'm taking one day where, like, I don't cook on Saturday. Okay, this is, remember how I said, like, we moved from community to friends? So, I don't cook on Saturday. That's my gig. I get one day off a week where I don't cook, and Saturday's it. So I made the paella last night, so I've got that for today. But for live streaming, Sunday's the day where I'm not doing any streaming at all. So we're going to be doing something each day, Monday through Saturday. We already have the chat on Monday on Twitter, and then there's going to be a recap on Tuesday. We've got cooking on Wednesday. And I think I'm going to retackle the scones because even though they didn't fix my oven, I figured out a way how I can do something different with the temperature. And then haven't figured out for Thursday, it might be mindfulness, it might not be. Friday is about the podcast. And Saturday we have Shoot the Beep with Dr. Deb. And we just come together and like we're having a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and just chit-chat about our week, chit-chat about whatever, as if we were sitting, together in a cafe. So thanks you guys for being here. Let's see. Oh, yes, that's another really great point, Lisa, is you can take a picture of your object and keep it on your phone. So even when it's not with you physically, it can always be with you wherever you go. All right, you guys, you have a good one, eh? This is Dr. Deb with PTSD and Beyond. Make it a great weekend, you guys. I'm sure we'll see each other on other social media platforms.